It's the end of the week. It's a beautiful Friday. It's time for Diversity Community Newscast. Hosted by Harriet Tinka and myself, Rayyah Sempala. Sponsored by Razy Plumbing and Heating. Here are the headlines for this weekend. CDÉA celebrates Black entrepreneurs as part of Black History Month celebration. A special Black History Month ceremony took place in Ontario to welcome new Canadians, supported by a list of Black trailblazers. Alberta's new budget, not so friendly to universities and cities according to big cities' mayors. Diversity TV brings you two after this newscast, a panel on sickle cell from those going through the experience. And now the news in detail with Harriet Tinka.
Thank you, Rayyah. A virtual celebration of Black Francophone entrepreneurs took place on February 27, 2021 by CDÉA. A good turnout of Black Francophone entrepreneurs and an engaging panel of entirely Black entrepreneurs indicated that CDÉA is for everyone, and it's time for the organization to take advantage of the Black entrepreneurial interest. Many more events and programs are in the pipeline after this successful Black History Month virtual celebration. The event was awesome. Liz Reza reiterated the feedback of the event participants. Calgary-based Liz Reza told Diversity TV that she learned a lot from the panelists and want to see more to help her grow her new skin balm making business.
So interesting, and I think more people should be that willing to grow, especially during these times. But what did we capture more for Black History Month? Harriet, can you tell us more?
Oh, you bet. There was quite a few events this week. On February 25th, 2021, Marco Mendocino, a federal minister of immigration, hosted a special virtual Black History Month Citizenship Ceremony with special guest Dr. Jean Augustine, the first Black woman elected to Parliament. Nicholas Johnson, Princeton's first Black valedictorian. Caroline Xavier, the first Black deputy minister in the federal government. Poetry reading by Luciane Kouakou and rendition of O Canada by Ineza Mugisha. Immigration Minister Marco Mendocino and citizenship judge who presided the event, Rochelle Ivry, found time to talk to Diversity TV about the significance of the Black History Month ceremony.
Welcoming Canadians is perhaps the most favorite part of my job. I get to look new Canadians in the eye, see the emotion, see how much they've had to overcome just to get here, to establish and put down roots in their communities, and to be able to just have that special moment, which is really quite profound, is again something that makes me become very emotional, because as the son of an immigrant family, I often think about my own family's journey and coming to Canada, and it makes me so proud to see that we are able to continue that tradition by welcoming people into our family of citizenship, and more importantly, to be able to do that at a moment in time when we are celebrating Black history in Canada made this morning very special.
You are your ancestors' wildest dreams. They truly couldn't imagine that you would be in this space with the opportunities in front of you. They just couldn't imagine that you would be here. And so it is a time to reflect on all of your hopes, dreams, and aspirations, and to seek out allies and sponsors and members of the Black community who have done the work and on whose shoulders we stand and who are still doing the work to be able to really realize your dreams.
Before we go to more Black History Month stories, we will take a quick commercial break.
Harriet, I heard we have some awards in the community. Can you tell us more about them?
You bet. We are celebrating some extraordinary people. Ajfat celebrates 20 years of community service in the Black community by handing out awards to entrepreneurs. Awards for entrepreneur excellence include Evelyn Lankwaki, owner of Tropical House Food Market Limited; Elda Poulin, owner of Bella's Beauty, shares Ida Poulin; Amy Pilindi, owner of Wednesday Market and Grill; Franklin Agbo, founder of Diversity Magazine.
Wow, Harriet, let me stop you there. That's our very own, right?
Oh,
That's
it is.
Franklin,
Yeah. It was great to see him on the list. Totally deserving. He's worked so hard this year and the year before. So congratulations to Franklin. Recognition of community leadership. Khalifa Goita of the Edmonton Malian community. Evelyn Kemajor, founder of PIA. Sa Eva Kantusivanako from the Francophone Association in Brooks. Viola Desmond, recognition for exceptional entrepreneur and innovative accomplishments. Eva Kabuya.
So, Harriet, I heard there's some things happening in the Indigenous community. Tell us more about what's happening.
You bet. In an effort to revitalize, reclaim, and preserve their culture, two Northern Cree ladies, Doreen and Carol, joined Lana from the Fort Saskatchewan Multicultural Association to embark on an education program in schools and community. They've created Cree classes open to the community for a free learning of the language. At the schools, they teach Cree as well as customs and traditional ways of living. Elder Doreen Wabaska and Carol Cardinal are Indigenous team who make this happen. All three spoke to Diversity TV about their program. Listen.
The Fort Saskatchewan Multicultural Association started a multicultural education program in 2017. 2014, where we take education of the different cultures to the different schools and we complement their curriculum. So we do Alberta Culture Days, we do Multiculturalism Day, we do Black History Month. Where it all combines and complements their curriculum. And then there was an introduction of First Nation, Métis, Inuit programming in the school, which was compulsory. And so the association have been working with the schools to support and complement that part of the curriculum as well. And as such, we've been teaching Indigenous cultures, languages, traditions, survival skills, the medicines, everything pertaining to the culture and tradition, and in a bid to reclaim, revitalize, and restore, and also preserve their cultures. And also with truth and reconciliation played a very huge part in what we do as well with the schools and the community. And so when they made this decade, the International Decade for Indigenous Languages, Kokum and I, we decided to let's start teaching Cree to the community and also the schools. So we've been going to the schools, the support groups, the daycare centers, Boys and Girls Club, the Girl Guides, and we've been teaching the language as well as the culture as well.
Very, very excited to be part of the program that we are doing. I am reclaiming my Cree language. I'm relearning about my cultures, my traditions. Doreen is such a wonderful person to share her knowledge with me. So, it's so important to revitalize our Cree heritage as so much was lost. My generation, my children's generation, and I it's really great that we are bringing it all back. I'm actually becoming quite fluent in Cree as I have been learning alongside Doreen, which has been just wonderful with me. Thank you.
In my time, I was born 1940, January 18. My time, it was outlaw to speak our language. We were raised in a residential school, my sister and I. It was outlaw, period. Our language, Cree language, the land of my birth year. And now it's a big plus when we can do this teachings to the children, the classrooms, and the community. It doesn't matter what color you are, we're all the same. Anybody can learn that Cree language.
So glad we have a group of women promoting Indigenous culture. So let's move on and talk about men's fashion. What do we have for men this week?
Oh, I love fashion. For men this week, be ready because there's color and there's beauty. Now, the color is in the horizon as spring nears and the Black History Month winds up. A colorful, eye-catching men tie set will not be a bad idea for your man or a friend. A handcrafted African wax print or Angara, a high-quality set of tie, bow tie, and a pocket square to complement an outfit. The set comes elegantly wrapped with a bow, which makes it a perfect gift for this Black History Month. For more information, please go to kynapparel.ca. Do you have anybody in mind that you'd like to give this bow set to?
I think I might buy one for my brothers, but I think this is a really nice idea, and it's good to really promote African print in our communities.
I agree. I think we should probably give one to Franklin, seeing that he was recognized for this Entrepreneur Award, but it might be a surprise.
This week we're going into the medical field and we're celebrating 3 medical doctors of African descent all working in the same clinic. Can you please tell us a bit more about this?
You bet. They're friends. And Dr. Raymond Asongwe of the Cameroon Heritage started Gateway Family Medical Clinic 5 years ago. He was later joined by Dr. Olusegun Ajayi and Dr. Olajedi Alfred Duro Jeye, both of Nigerian descent. Together, they are the 3 doctors working in the Gateway Family Medical Clinic on Unit 236, 2 Hibbert Road, St. Albert. Listen to the 3 doctors on Diversity TV.
I'm Dr. Olusegun Ajayi. I'm a family physician. We do general medical practice, health surveillance, counseling, and patient support.
Dr. Raymond Songwe from Gateway Family Medical Clinic. We set up a practice here in St. Albert about 5 years ago. Together we are 3 of us colleagues. We do general medical practice. We see and counsel patients. We do minor surgeries, and we do home visit as well. If you want to come to our clinic, you are very welcome. You can easily get us www.gfamilyMedicalClinic.ca.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Lajide Alfred Durujai. I practice in this clinic, Gateway Family Medical Clinic. Having completed GP training in England and done some work in Nigeria as well. I'm originally Nigerian. Gateway Family Medical Clinic, I'm a family physician. Do some geriatric work as well. Work in some elderly people home, and I got some twang to ops and gynae as well. A bit of reproductive health practice. So yeah, we do sort of general medical practice, child health, women's health, a bit of geriatrics. So we can provide sort of general medical care to all sort of population. You're welcome to come and join us. I'm taking patients on at the moment, so just contact the clinic, Gateway Family Medical Clinic, 780-544-9407.
Harriet, what's happening with coronavirus?
Well, coronavirus is definitely a subject that never gets old. The Coronavirus Project Cool Times. Alberta Health has reported scams where victims are asked to provide personal information, send money, or buy gift cards to secure a COVID-19 vaccine early. If you've received such a call, contact Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre or your local police. Have you received such a call yourself?
No, but I wouldn't want to receive such a call.
Yes, it's a fraud incident, so definitely you have to call the right people, the police.
So Harriet, let's get out of Edmonton and Canada. What do you have for us today in international news?
For international news, I absolutely enjoy finding out what's going on internationally. So for this week, we have Ghana and Ivory Coast. They received 600,000 doses of AstraZeneca, Oxford, and Pfizer BioNTech vaccine as part of the World Health Organization free COVAX support to countries who cannot afford the COVID-19 vaccine.
So, for this dish of the week, the keywords are ackee and saltfish.
Ah,
Yeah. So
that makes me hungry.
I'm also hungry. So, where is this ackee and saltfish?
Well, I don't know if I want to keep you in suspense. I won't. I'll tell you where to get this dish that you referred to. But this week, Crazy Jerk Restaurant in Calgary, led by Chef Joshua, prepares for us ackee and saltfish, just like you said, particularly known as the Jamaica national dish. It is made with the ackee fruit, which was imported to the region from the African nation of Ghana in Africa by slaves. You can try their delicious ackee and saltfish at Crazy Jerk, located on 1715 52 Street Southeast in Calgary. But if you're from Edmonton, you can go and get it as well.
So this is the oil, plain cooking oil. Put it too much. Over here, how are you? I have the onion, tomato, hot pepper, and yellow pepper and red pepper. So what I do, I put some black pepper, not too much, over it. And I put a little bit of seasoned salt. So that's okay. Then I stir everything up. Get it together. Okay, so I bring it over here. And the oil is very hot. Let's see, so I just
Where can people get this?
can get at No Frills and anywhere in the store in town. You can get it. There's different brand, but I like this brand. And then I put it in here, and I put some hot water. Run it over some hot water, and then from the hot water, so pour it over here. And I stir it in there.
What is actually made of?
It makes from a fruit
Okay.
tree from Jamaica.
So it's ready for.
It's ready to eat, ready to serve.
Harriet, we have so many events and announcements this week and this month. You know, Black History Month just ended, but we still have a few events that are happening. We just started Women's Month. This is the Women's Month, and Women's Day is coming up. We have some events there. And, you know, just in general, there are announcements that are happening in the community. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
It's a fun-packed week, and I could say fun-packed month. Now, I'm going to summarize just the ones that are happening this week. The National Black Coalition of Canada, NBCC, Edmonton Chapter Black History Month publication is now out. The 44 years 2021 cultural magazine can be accessed on their website. Edmonton will host a very important diversity conference this summer on July 6 to 10 at 9 a.m., inviting big names like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. III. For tickets, please go to the www.diversityconference.ca website. Business for sale. Are you looking for a business? Interested in taking over a business? Well, Women Clothing Boutique is for sale. Start making money right away. Ready to go, and it's ready to go, and it can be moved anywhere. It's profitable and no experience required. Needed training and support will be provided. Good deal including inventory, supplies, and so on. If you're interested, please call this number, 780-709-0965. The University of Alberta is accepting accepting applications from Black high school students for the University of Alberta Black Youth Mentorship and Leadership Program. This is an interdisciplinary program that seeks to socially and economically empower Black youths. For more information on the program is on their website. Application deadline is April 15. The BCW, International Women's Day, IWD, celebration will take place on the 6th and the 7th of March. The theme is Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World. That's very fitting right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that will take place on March 6, 2021. BCW celebration from 2 p.m. to 4:30. March 7, 2021, Virtual Expo Summit from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. This will be There will be various presentations on the 6th. The keynote speaker will be Dr. Wanda Costin, Dean, School of Business at Grant MacEwan University. The Edmonton Muslim community is coming together to offer self-defense classes to ensure the protection of hijab-wearing Muslim women on the streets of Edmonton. 6 Muslim women were assaulted, yelled racial slurs at, and threatened in separate incidents in Edmonton in the last 3 months at Southgate Mall, University of Alberta Transit Center, and other locations. In an interview with the Edmonton Police Chief, this is what the police chief said on the issue.
Each one of those incidents is unique, and first and foremost, we want to make contact with the individuals that obviously have been offended against. That's our primary interest. Our primary interest is the safety of those individuals. So there is a lot of personal contact. I can tell you right now, Sergeant Willits, in relation to our hate crimes unit, makes regular contact. I think the ones in incident, he's made contact with each of them in relation to that. Is it a concern? Absolutely. One of them's a concern. Is it an increase that we've seen overall in the course of a year? No, it's not. I mean, it's within 3 events, but the fact that this still exists in communities today, and I think in 2020, I think there were 60 events that we had over that particular time frame. To me, that's still unacceptable, because that's certainly offensive, but it's also a fear, and it's also a safety concern for individuals. So we need to make sure that we do everything within our power to investigate those appropriately and lay the necessary charges. What we are seeing a bit of a trend in some of these cases, because I was briefed on it here not that recently, very recently, is we seem to be seeing an increase in a lot of the individuals that are involved in these activities with some serious underlying mental health concerns, and that is also playing out. Whether some of these end up being a hate crime as per se, or if it just ends up being a crime that we hold people accountable, whatever we have to do to make it safer in the individuals, starting with putting the victim as perception and fear at the center of that, is absolutely critical to success. But again, not all of these incidents will be hate crime as defined under the criminal code. But that doesn't mean there's still not a serious concern for us, because somebody's been harmed. So we take each of these seriously. There's no place for this in our community. And, ultimately, our goal is to work not just with the individuals, but with the communities to get some collective outcomes, and how we can get underneath each other to reduce these numbers and ultimately stop them.
Since you have the community engagement sessions going on now, which community groups are getting involved in finding solutions for policing, with this harassments coming up from these Muslim women, are you looking at ways of engaging and incorporating them into these conversations so they become part of the solutions going forward?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm just escaping me, Franklin, the name of the Muslim mothers that I've already spoke to. It's escaping me, and I apologize for that. But absolutely, we want to engage with everybody in relation to that video on self-defense, and that you referred to me previously with Al Rashid. I think, I mean, if there's anything that we can do and host one of those events and get underneath and support that, absolutely, we are totally open to that. And as these things come up, and you being aware of how these commitment to action ones, they've been all over the map, and all of these issues are important. So what we need to do, and what we said about commitment to action, if there's some steps that we can take to improve the situation, we are fully in support of that. And certainly I throw that out there, and we will be making contact to see what we can do, in particular with Al Rashid, if there's something. And I actually talked to our folks just actually a couple hours ago on this particular thing. So yeah, totally open to having those discussions, but I don't want them just to be discussions as you and I have both talked about. I want it to lead to an action item that we can actually look.
We invited someone from the Al Rashid Mosque to tell us more about their self-defense program to enable women to protect themselves.
Of self-defense classes geared towards Muslim women to empower them really more than anything to be able to get out of any bad situation. This class started in light of recent attacks against Black Muslim women in our city of Edmonton. Unfortunately, there's been in the last few weeks 5 attacks, and this has created a lot of frustration within our community and a sense of fear, and particularly in the between women who are visibly Muslim, who wear the hijab. So our Rashid Mosque took initiative, and after that, once the word got out, different community organizations came into the picture, including Markaz al-Islam, Mosque, ICNA, Nisa Homes. Other community organizations also wanted to support it by funding it and making sure that it's accessible to all communities, regardless of what kind of financial situation they come from. So it really became like a big city project, but started at the Rashid Mosque as just as a step towards empowered women and helping them protect themselves, really.
This is great that you have these self-defense courses. What are you doing anything with the Edmonton police or in the community? Because you can't do this by yourself. You need a community to support you. And I know you mentioned other mosques are involved and that sort of thing, but what is the community doing with the police? Are they collaborating? What is going on?
Really, it's a big picture kind of thing, right? It's the whole community coming together to make sure, because this is just a step. This is really, we're helping empower women, but the conversation needs to start. And there's a lot of research and works need to be done on all 3 levels of government to figure out why do we have an upward trend in hatred and racism. How did we get to a point? I mean, the Muslim community has been in Edmonton since the late 1800s, but the first mosque is right here in Edmonton, the first mosque in Canada, built in 1938. So Muslims living in our country is not something new. We've participated in building the foundation and the fabric of what our society looks like today. So to see right now that there are more attacks towards Muslims, and it's not only Muslims, to be honest with you, it's all minorities. There has been a huge increase in attacks of places of worship, on Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, all the rest of it. So a lot of work needs to be done towards finding out why is this happening, working together, putting a strategy and a plan to root it out of our community and kind of go back one step and just say, you know what, we live all together. We need to coexist and learn to respect each other's values and principles and religious beliefs.
Now that you've taken the class, what is the one thing you would offer me if I came to your class? Give me a tip.
The one thing, actually 2 things. I'll give you 2 tips because I learned this and it's always not in the back of our minds, but body language is super important. When you walk with confidence, and if you're ever in a bad situation and your body says that she's afraid or she's intimidated, it really empowers whoever's attacking you. So that is one point to take away. I learned that body language is super important. You should have your poise and have your strength and not just show your mean face. That's the time to show your mean face. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, I know we always talk about women's voice, and now we're at International Women's Day is coming up and whatnot, about our voices being heard. The power of our voice seemed to be when the instructor was talking about how loud you need to be when you are in that kind of situation. First of all, it will intimidate the attacker, and second of all, it will alert everyone around you that there's a fight, there's a bad situation happening. So if you ever want to be loud, that's the moment to be loud.
Rayyah Local Immigration Partnership, RDLIP, needs your help in making their communities safe for all. They are worried about the growing reports of racism in their community. Because of this, they are reaching out to ask you questions about these 3 topics. In the past 5 years, have you seen incidents of racism in their community? Have you experienced racism personally? How do people respond to racism, and what are your needs for support? Take the survey on their website. Alberta President of Treasury Board and Minister of Finance, Travis Choose, presented the provincial budget on February 25, 2021. In the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic, the economic recession and tumbling oil and gas prices, the budget is big on tackling the COVID-19 pandemic and economic recovery, the minister said. As expenses surpass revenue, cuts, and more cuts appear to be the spirit of the budget, drawing quick reactions from the mayors of Alberta's largest cities, Edmonton and Calgary. For a budget focused on health, recovery, and finding savings, I am confounded and disappointed that the province is not prepared to work with Edmonton on supportive housing and has cut critical infrastructure funding to our city. Edmonton Mayor Don Iverson. Today's Alberta budget cuts almost $160 million from the city, preventing us from building needed infrastructure and creating jobs when we most need them. Even more troubling, it's a missed opportunity. Coming back from a pandemic will be hard, and we need a roadmap. We didn't get that. Cuts to post-secondary education are particularly troubling. Nahid Neshi, Mayor of Calgary. This budget that cuts support to cities, according to the mayors, run the risk of cities increasing property taxes to make up the shortfall, thereby leading to an indirect increase in taxes, contrary to what the minister was saying in his presentation. In a pandemic period that has hit minorities the most, any budget cuts experienced by the cities is only going to make a bad situation worse for you. So we invited your Alberta President of Treasury Board and Minister of Finance, Travis Choose, for some explanation on this issue, but got no response. Learn more on this new budget on www.alberta.ca. Before we let you go, the panel will be coming up right away.
Yes, and this panel is on sickle cells, which is such an important thing to talk about and raise awareness for our community and within our communities.
Wonderful. So thank you so much for watching Diversity TV Newscast from Harriet Tinka and
Rayyah Sempala.
Be sure to subscribe. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And also our website is diversityplus.ca.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you next Friday. Okay, so welcome everyone. We are here to discuss and raise awareness for sickle cell. We have Elle Cole, who is an award-winning author and a sickle cell advocate, based in the United States. We have Foma Muen, who is the CEO and founder of Not Just You, which is based here in Edmonton. And she is also a sickle cell advocate. So we're gathered here today to discuss and raise awareness for sickle cell disease. Foma, we'll start with you. Why is it important to raise awareness for sickle cell disease?
I would say that it's important to raise awareness for sickle cell disease because as a Black woman, as a Black individual, as someone who is of African descent, my parents are from Nigeria, it's like sickle cell is a predominantly Black disease, and it's some of the highest rates are where I am from. And also I have sickle cell. So I was born with sickle cell. And so this is something that affects my life. It affects so many Black people's lives. It affects our future generations and our children. It is something that cuts across so many sectors of life. And I feel like it's something that especially like my generation, I guess because we're at the age that I'm at, maybe thinking about your future children isn't something you're doing right now. And so it's not a conversation that people even want to talk about. And we set ourselves up to kind of like propagate this disease just because we're not having these conversations. So I think it is very important that we raise awareness for sickle cell because it is something that can be eradicated. It is something that can be really, really minimized. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Foma, for that. We'll go to Elle. Elle, why is it important to raise awareness for sickle cell?
I think what she said was right on point. I think that, awareness is really the first step, because if we know that we carry the trait, we have more just understanding of what is to come. So it's true that what we don't know can hurt us and it can hurt our offspring. And so I think it's just very important for us to be aware of our trait status so that we can just, move on with understanding, intelligence, and research. I think, sickle cell was first discovered many, many years ago. I think it's like we're at the 111th anniversary. And I think that, the attention that it's needed wasn't actually given at the time. And so we know that it's the most common genetic disorder in the world. So what are we doing with that information? What are we going to do about it? And, we have to make the future generations better. And so by paying attention, raising awareness, having these conversations, it will make the future better for our offspring and generations to come.
Yes, thank you, Elle, for that. And so my next question is going to go to Foma, and you started a nonprofit organization called Not Just You here in Edmonton. So tell our viewers a little bit about what you do and what you're all about.
So yeah, Not Just You is a nonprofit sickle cell support organization that is devoted to celebrating, educating, and motivating individuals and families affected by sickle cell disease. My goal is to shed light to this disease, and one of my main missions is to eradicate the shame and stigma associated with sickle cell disease, just because I know that, again, being of Nigerian descent, in Nigeria, sickle cell is an extremely, extremely stigmatized illness. And even though I was born in Canada, a lot of my family is here. And there are so many Nigerian immigrants and first generation Nigerians here in Canada. That stigma from Nigeria still travels. It is across borders. For some reason, even though we live especially here in Canada, where we're privileged to have universal health care, it is still a stigmatized illness. People still keep it very secretive. They're ashamed to talk about it. And that is so heartbreaking to me, because I know how much my family and I suffered with, my family was really vocal with sickle cell, but there was nobody who was vocal with us. It was very much something that my family and I had to deal alone. And I don't want that for future generations. I don't want that for anybody around me. So that is why I have Not Just You, because I'm really dedicated to making sure that you understand that it is not just you that's dealing with the illness.
Yeah, that's very commendable, Fulma, and I encourage more our viewers to go and check out your organization. I think you're on Instagram with Not Just You.
Yes, it is Not Just You _NJY. And you can visit our website, notjustyou.ca. We've got lots of resources there. We're on Twitter as well and Facebook. So you can reach us pretty much everywhere.
Okay. And Elle, I know you've written a few books. Could you give us a little bit of insight about what people can gain from reading these books?
So I'm actually the mother of a child with sickle cell, SS. And I know that for me and my family, I wrote the book to educate my daughter. And I realized that it could be a resource for other families as well. And so that's why I think that people have to educate the next generation and really do a great job of just providing a foundation of what the disease is and how it affects a person's body. And so I think with my book, it's called A Sickle Cell Coloring Book for Kids, and it is for young children, but it's really something that families should do with their kid. And so it's a coloring book because I believe that coloring is a way to relax, and the words in the book really give depth of knowledge. It's not just, written just for kids, because the language and the information provided in the book, it shares real, it's kind of like a glossary of the terms that doctors use so that people can understand the terminology, because sometimes people don't even know what doctors are talking about. So it explains what a hematologist is, it talks about what fatigue is, and it just really goes through the symptoms and things that families should look out for. But even if you're not a family of someone living with sickle cell disease, if you have a child in your classroom with sickle cell disease, the book is helpful because it really talks about, what's going on. And so anybody that actually comes in contact with someone with sickle cell disease can learn from the book as well.
Yes, thank you for that, Elle. Could you repeat the book title for our viewers so they can know what to look out for?
The title is called A Sickle Cell Coloring Book for Kids, and it is on Amazon. So I'm the writer, Elle Cole, and then I have an illustrator who was Kate Hammernick. So if you just put that information in, you'll be able to find the book, A Sickle Cell Coloring Book for Kids.
Yes, thank you. So I want to move on to another topic. Like the average person, when they hear sickle cell, all they think of is, okay, it's blood. There's something wrong with the blood, or some deformity with the blood cells. So for the average person who doesn't know a lot about sickle cell, why is blood so important with sickle cell? The question is open to whichever one of you wants to pick it up.
I can go. I see Elsie's a little busy. Just mom stuff, I'm not there yet. But so why is blood so important to sickle cell? I guess really the truth is it is a blood-borne disease, and it is a mutation in our blood, and that is why we have the disease that we do. Essentially what sickle cell is when you have mutated red blood cells, or the hemoglobin, that is the protein that makes up blood. Unfortunately, your hemoglobin cannot bind properly to oxygen and take oxygen to your body's, like your whole body, your lungs, all your organs and everything, which you can imagine can cause a lot of issues. One of the main ones being sickle cell pain crises. And it also just causes the red blood cells to die off. So you're subject to anemia. So you often find that people who have sickle cell are very, they deal with fatigue. They can't really keep up with like regular exercise. So it can be really debilitating. And it all really just comes down to the fact that our blood is just not normal, unfortunately.
Thank you for that, Fulma. We'll go to Elle. Elle, would you like to answer the question?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, so the question is, for the average person watching this, they might think, okay, sickle cell, it's to do with blood, but Why is blood so important to sickle cell?
So sickle cell disease is a genetic disorder that deals with the hemoglobin and the shape of it. So with a person with sickle cell disease, instead of having round blood cells, they have sickled red blood cells. So the red blood cells are shaped kind of like a banana. So that gives you a bit of a visual. And so what happens is when the red blood cells get hard and sticky, they begin to stick together. And so that causes what people refer to and doctors refer to as a pain crisis in a sickle cell patient. And so a pain crisis can cause debilitating pain, and it can last for hours or days or weeks. Like some people with sickle cell live constantly with pain. So I think it's, you know, it's really the foundation of it all, but because your red blood cells carry oxygen throughout your entire body, sickle cell can affect every organ in your body, just like she just mentioned. And so it's something that we should be aware of. And one of the treatments that some sickle cell patients receive are blood transfusions.
I just wanted to make a correction. I just was reflecting back on what I was saying. I think I mentioned that it's a blood-borne disease. Like she said, it's actually a genetic disease. So what I meant to say is it's a disease of the blood. So yeah.
Okay, and Elle mentioned something that we're going to go into now, which is transfusions. And this is an area where a lot of people can go and actually help. Why is it important for people to go and donate blood for sickle cell?
This is actually something that Not Just You was talking a lot about throughout this past month of Black History Month. And essentially, blood transfusions are a crucial treatment to individuals with sickle cell disease, because oftentimes, like I said, as we do have, and as Elle said, as we do have sickled blood cells, our blood cells are dying off readily. We have low hemoglobin, which causes us to go through a lot of different issues. And so when you have a blood transfusion, that is essentially transferring someone else's blood into yours to replenish what has been lost or what is ill. And that makes us feel way better. I've had quite a few blood transfusions in my time with sickle cell. And so it makes a world of a difference once it's like you get recharged up. And so it's really important to look into donating blood, because you can be helping out different people, not just people with sickle cell, but people who have different types of anemia, people who have cancer. So many people are affected by different illnesses that need blood transfusions. And when you donate blood, you can not only donate just like your red blood cells, but you can donate other products such as platelets. And that's something that I have also received before. So donating blood helps a multitude of people for a multitude of reasons. And even as being Black History Month, it is really important for Black people to actually consider donating blood and or blood products, because when you, as a Black person who would like to help out maybe someone with sickle cell disease or illnesses that are predominant in Black people, when you have blood coming from a Black person going to a Black person, oftentimes the blood is a lot of a closer match. And when we have blood that is a closer match, it can be more, the word efficacious, it can be more, it works, I'll just say it works better for the recipient. So it's really important that Black people do donate blood, because they have blood types that are more similar to the unique blood types that people with sickle cell disease would have. So yeah.
Yes, thank you, Foma. And yeah, that was one of the things that I was going to go into, because as you mentioned, sickle cell is something that really affects mostly the Black community. And we see that it's usually the Black community which really don't have a lot of donors. Not a lot of Black people are on the donation list, and that really presents a challenge to people with sickle cell, because I would say during those pain crises, sometimes they could be low on blood transfusions, or as you mentioned, I'm not an expert in this, but as you mentioned, it could be that it wouldn't be as close of a match or as helpful as it would have been if it was being received, it was being given by a Black donor. But we're going to go to Elle quickly. If if you have something to add on to this.
I think what she shared was spot on. So I don't have anything to add to that part. I agree.
Well, I think we can conclude our panel unless there's something that either of you wanted to add on.
So I want to add something. I think, you know, we are highlighting sickle cell disease because often in our different communities and where we've been, it's not something that we've always felt comfortable talking about. I know that here in the US, people back in the 60s, when they would say, do you know your status? They weren't talking about HIV, they were talking about sickle cell trait. And that has, you know, that terminology no longer really exists for sickle cell trait. And so I think it's just very important for us to have conversations like this so that the stigma is not associated with it, so that we know what the risks are, we know what type of precautions we should be taking, because sickle cell can be a lifelong disease for someone. We know that there are certain cures like a bone marrow transplant, gene therapy, but they are not accessible to everyone. And I think it's very important for us to raise more awareness so that more treatments do become available. Now, more than ever before, we're seeing many more treatments and more medications that treat sickle cell symptoms. So there was a time when there was only one treatment. And so now we're living in a time where people with sickle cell are living longer, they're living a better quality of life. And so that is so important. And so it's conversations like these that really helps to put sickle cell disease on the radar so that people are not just in the dark, they'll know exactly what it is, and they'll be able to advocate more and to speak up. Because if it's just us, those who have a relationship with someone who has the disease, then it's not going to get the research dollars that it needs to really make massive changes. And so we have to have conversations with any and everybody. There are people who have been taking up that mantle long before us, long before we existed. And so we have to continue to carry on that the conversation and to encourage doctors to go into hematology, because we do have this group of people who are living longer and they're living into adulthood, and there aren't a lot of hematologists that are treating adult patients with sickle cell. So we need more research dollars, we need more hematologists, we need more cultural sensitivity among our own people, we need more support from our families. It's just so much more that is needed. We're just really scratching the surface. And so I appreciate you for having this conversation, because it's just, you know, and so I also thank Puma for having an organization, because I believe that organizations can really make a difference to our future.
Okay, thank you, Elle, for that. We're going to go to Foma. Did you have any last remarks?
I think Elle did an amazing job at she really hit the nail with the hammer. That was so good. I think if there's anything that I can say, one of the statements I love to hammer off wherever I am, whoever I'm with, is that I really, really employ, and I'm nearly begging people at this point, because I'm so passionate. I just really would love for more people to get screened for sickle cell trait. Even if you're like, oh, I know for sure, like honestly, I even suggest that people get screened more than once in their lives, just because sometimes there are like mistakes that happen in the healthcare system. So it's better to get screened not just once, but twice in your life. But if you haven't been screened at all, go get screened, because the truth is sickle cell is a very preventable illness. And the more you are aware and confident in your trait, and you're able to be like, oh, hey, like, you're getting into a romantic relationship or something, you want to start family planning, you can have this conversation and be like, hey, this is my trait, what's yours? Or I don't carry it. You know what I mean? Like, to know your genotype, to know if you're a carrier of sickle cell trait, you have no idea, like the stress, the lifetime, like you can impact somebody's life by just doing that simple thing. So I really, really talk to your parents about it, and let it be something that is a casual topic of conversation. It really does sometimes, it kind of saddens me when this discussion of asking someone like, hey, do you know if you carry sickle cell trait, when it's something that we're supposed to, like, whisper about, or it's something secretive. Absolutely not. It should be something like, do you know what your regular blood type is, your ABO, like, something like that. It, like the same way we talk about, like, now it's really common, like zodiac signs and like horoscopes. That is how I think we should treat sickle cell trait. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Foma, and thank you, Elle. This was such a very informative conversation, and I took away a lot from it. As someone who doesn't really have a personal connection to sickle cell, but I have like distant relatives who do have sickle cell. But I really learned a lot from this conversation, and was kind of shocked at some of the information that isn't public knowledge or people don't know about. So I really encourage people who are viewing this right now to go and, as Foma say, get tested for the trait, go donate blood, go just find out more, because this is something that really affects our community. But thank you, Elle and Foma, again for this conversation. And we hope to have more conversations like this that raise awareness for the things that really matter to all of us.